I'd love to have a motion to have Trustee Melissa Boyd join remotely. She's asking to join via Zoom for cause. Can I have a motion as such?
So I move to allow Trustee Boyd to join remotely.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, the motion passes. Congratulations, little screen.
Oh, you're tiny.
Yeah, she's tiny on the screen, but that's okay. So now, can I have a roll call?
Trustee Boyd,
Here.
Trustee Hopwood,
Here.
Vice President Inglis,
Here.
President Mahoney,
Here.
and Superintendent Stone.
Here.
Yeah, oh, also for the record, Trustee Khan is absent for personal reasons tonight.
Great. I'll now have the board move to closed session where we will discuss public employee discipline, dismissal, release, conference with legal counsel about anticipated litigation, public employee performance evaluation, and conference with labor negotiators. Before we go into closed session, do I have any comment from the public? Seeing none, we will go to closed session. Thank you. ready? We're going to reconvene to open session. Before we do that, we're going to have a roll call. Please note that Trustee Boyd will be joining us remotely under AB 2449, Just Cause, to join remotely. He will be, as such, all of our votes will be roll calls. And I believe Trustee Boyd also has to attest at least once that there's nobody else in the room influencing her vote. Okay, with that, can I have a roll call?
Thank you. Also,
Did I screw up? Was there something else I'm supposed to know?
the board approved that she could attend this before closed session. Trustee Chodak will be running late today. Trustee Shepherd.
Here.
Trustee Khan is absent for personal reasons. Trustee Boyd.
Here.
Trustee Hopwood.
Here.
Vice President Inclus.
Here.
President Mahoney.
Here.
Superintendent Stone.
Here.
Reporting out in closed session, we took no action in closed session. So we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Join me if you like. Great. Now we'll move on to the reading of the foundational commitments.
AUSD Vision Statement. Each and every student is empowered to realize their fullest potential, ready to lead, contribute, and thrive in an ever-changing world through the support of a diverse, engaged, and committed community. Mission Statement. Albany Unified School District provides an excellent public education that empowers every student to achieve their fullest potential. We honor the unique ways students learn and are committed to creating inclusive, supportive, and collaborative learning environments. By valuing individual strengths, celebrating differences, and fostering critical thinking, we ensure that every student is prepared to contribute to a just and joyful world and thrive as a productive citizen, productive members of society.
Do you want some help? We can rotate.
Sure.
Okay. Great. Volunteering the board. I can go first. Okay, you got it? Core values. We believe in equity and excellence. Every student deserves access to high-quality education, high-quality, rigorous, and inclusive learning experiences that honor their potential and ensure that they are prepared to thrive.
We believe in student-centered learning. Students flourish when they experience agency, belonging, and wellness in safe, supportive environments designed to meet their individual needs.
3, we believe in collaborative leadership. Shared leadership and transparent, accountable systems are crucial for building trust, driving improvement, and fostering a culture of learning.
4, we believe in honoring individual strengths. Each student brings unique gifts, identities, and ways of learning. Recognizing and valuing these differences is foundational to meaningful education.
5, we believe in the power of community partnership. When educators, students, families, and community partners work together, we create schools where everyone belongs and every student is empowered to lead, contribute, and thrive.
Board norms and code of conduct. 1, focus on what's best for students, ensure a respectful environment. 2, value diverse perspectives, act with dignity and professionalism. 3, maintain distinction between board and staff roles. 4, commit to continuous learning and professional development.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for jumping in. I'll ask us all to do the same for the some of the proclamations that we have later. Before we get on to that, can I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
I move to approve the meeting agenda.
Second?
I believe we have to do a roll call.
Trustee Boyd.
Yes.
Trustee Shepherd.
Yes.
Trustee Hopwood.
Yes.
Vice President Inclus.
Yes.
President Mahoney.
Yes. Okay, moving on to recognitions. Trustee Shepherd, will you start us on Proclamation 2025-2606, recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month, please?
Proclamation number 2025-26-06, recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Whereas mental health is essential to overall well-being, academic success, and the ability of students, staff, and families to thrive in a school and in life, and
Whereas children, youth, and families continue to experience stresses relating to academic pressure, social dynamics, economic uncertainty, community safety, global conflict, and the ongoing effects of recent years, all of which can impact mental health and well-being. And
whereas national data continues to indicate that a significant number of young people experience mental health challenges, with early signs often emerging during adolescence. And
whereas mental health challenges can affect attendance, engagement, behavior, and academic outcomes, and when left unaddressed may lead to more serious long-term consequences. And
whereas access to timely, appropriate mental health supports, including school-based services, can improve student outcomes, strengthen connections between school and home, and promote resilience. And
whereas increasing awareness, reducing stigma, and equipping students, staff, and families with practical tools and resources are critical components of a comprehensive approach to student wellness. And
whereas the 2026 theme for Mental Health Awareness Month, More Good Days Together, encourages individuals and communities to reflect on what a good day looks like, to foster connection, and to ensure that people are supported at the right time with the right resources. And
whereas schools play a vital role in creating supportive, inclusive environments where all students feel safe, seen, and connected, and where mental health is recognized as a shared responsibility across the community.
whereas spreading awareness of the importance of mental health can help people realize the many ways in which mental illness impacts them and those around them, and can provide the opportunity to learn about available services.
now, therefore, be it resolved that the Albany Unified School District Board of Education hereby proclaims the month of May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month, and encourages all schools and departments to promote practices that support mental health and well-being, increase awareness, counteract and reduce stigma, support students, families, and staff struggling with any mental health issues. District administrators, teachers, and staff will recognize this month with appropriate instructional activities.
be it further resolved that the district will continue to prioritize efforts that help create more good days for all members of the Albany Unified School District community together.
Great, thank you for that. And now we'll move on to our next proclamation, 2025-26-07, recognizing May as Jewish American Heritage Month.
Whereas the Albany Unified School District is committed to fostering equitable, inclusive, and safe learning environments where all students, families, and staffs feel safe, feel seen, respected, valued, and supported. And
whereas Jewish American Heritage Month was nationally established in 2006 to recognize and celebrate the enduring contributions of Jewish Americans to the history, culture, and civic life of the United States. And
whereas Jewish Americans have contributed in profound ways to American society, including in education, science, medicine, government, law, labor, literature, the arts, business, and movements for justice, democracy, and human rights. And
whereas Jewish identity is diverse and includes religious, cultural, ethnic, and familial dimensions, reflecting a broad range of traditions, histories, backgrounds, and lived experiences. And
whereas many Jewish families came to the United States seeking refuge from persecution, and Jewish communities have shown resilience, courage, and leadership while helping shape the fabric of American life. And
whereas anti-Semitism remains a persistent and harmful form of hate, and recent increases in anti-Semitic incidents nationally and in California have affected the safety, well-being, and sense of belonging of Jewish students, staff, and families. And
whereas Albany Unified School District stands firmly against anti-Semitism, bias, discrimination, and all forms of hate, and affirms its responsibility to ensure that Jewish students, staff, and families feel safe, included, and respected in our schools. And
whereas Albany Unified School District is committed to teaching Jewish American history and experiences, including Holocaust education, in meaningful and developmentally appropriate ways, to expand access to high-quality, culturally responsive instructional materials that reflect Jewish voices and stories. And
whereas Albany Unified School District recognizes the importance of creating school environments in which Jewish identity is not only protected, but affirmed and celebrated, included through opportunities for learning, representation, and joyful recognition of Jewish culture and heritage. And
whereas Albany Unified School District will continue to strengthen inclusive practices by being mindful of major Jewish observances, including Shabbat and other holidays, and by supporting respectful school and district practices for students, families, and staff who observe them. And
Whereas Albany Unified School District values ongoing partnership with Jewish students, families, educators, and community members in order to foster understanding, strengthen belonging, and support inclusive and exclusive school communities for all.
Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Albany Unified School District Board of Education recognizes the month of May 2026 as Jewish American Heritage Month. And
Be it further proclaimed that the board encourages all schools in the broader community to celebrate the contributions, histories, and cultures and voices of Jewish Americans to deepen understanding of Jewish identity and experience, and to take meaningful steps to confront anti-Semitism and advance belonging for all.
thank you. And now we will move on to our third proclamation. Proclamation 2025-26-08, recognizing May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Whereas the Albany Unified School District values and honors the diverse backgrounds, experiences, and identities of all students, families, and staff, and is committed to creating inclusive environments where every voice is heard and every culture is celebrated, and
Whereas the month of May is nationally recognized as Asian American and Pacific Islander, AAPI, Heritage Month, commemorating the arrival of the first Japanese immigrants to the United States in May 1843 and the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in May 1869, built in large part by Chinese laborers, and
Whereas AAPI communities represent a broad and diverse group of individuals with ancestral ties to East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, the Pacific Islands, and indigenous Pacific peoples, encompassing a wide range of cultures, languages, and lived experiences. And
Whereas a history marked by exclusionary policies, discrimination, and systemic barriers, including the Chinese Exclusion Act, the incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II, and ongoing acts of bias and xenophobia, AAPI individuals and communities have demonstrated enduring leadership and resilience while making profound contributions to American society in education, science, healthcare, business, the arts, public service, and social justice movements. And
whereas AAPI individuals continue to experience discrimination and hate incidents, underscoring the importance of education, awareness, and the community action to promote safety, belonging, and inclusion for all, and
whereas AUSD is committed to countering stereotypes, promoting accurate and inclusive narratives, and embedding culturally responsive practices across curriculum, instruction, and school communities, and
whereas the 2026 theme, A Legacy of Leadership and Resilience, invites reflection on the contributions and experiences of AAPI communities and encourages continued learning, connection, and recognition of their impact. And
whereas recognizing and celebrating AAPI Heritage Month provides meaningful opportunities for students, educators, and the broader community to deepen cross-cultural understanding, uplift AAPI voices and stories, and strengthen connections across our diverse community.
now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the Albany Unified School District Board of Education recognizes the month of May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and encourages all schools in the broader community to honor AAPI heritage through education, reflection, and celebration, and to continue fostering an inclusive environment where all students feel seen, valued, and supported.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're done with that section of the agenda. We're now moving on to general public comment period for items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any, I believe we do not have any staff recognitions this evening. So we're moving on to general public comment for items that are not on the agenda. Please note that for items not on the agenda, the board cannot respond to those items, but we're more than happy to take them either on the phone or in the room. Any comments in the room? Seeing none, any comments on Zoom? Okay, seeing none, we'll now move on to our reports, starting with our student board member.
We don't have a report tonight.
Great. Do we have any reports from our labor partners?
Hello. I'm just going to report that we are in the midst of elections for Albany Teachers Association. We're going to be turning over the whole executive board. So we will have all new people starting as of July 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now move on to the superintendent report.
All right, thank you. I'm going to work to share my screen. Okay. It's always fun. Right. Move that. Oops. Sorry. Let's do it the correct way. There we go. Okay. All right. Good evening, trustees. Thank you. Tonight, I would like to use my superintendent report time to do some reflection on the goals that I had this year and share some updates on that. So I wanted to start, though, with just some really important values-based leadership stance statements that I came into this role with, and that I think really are what lead me in the work that I do. So my uncompromising leadership stance is that I, no matter what, center marginalized students always and ensure that all students have access to success. For me, that is probably the number one role that I have, not only as a superintendent, but as an educator. And it is what I always lead with. I work really hard to lead with integrity, honesty, and shared responsibility, especially right now in this time that we're in the face of budget and political pressures. And I work very hard to lean into complexity and discomfort. And so I've had a 16-ish month journey that I just wanted to remind you all of. I started my superintendency last December, and I spent the first portion of my superintendency doing some deep listening. And what that looked like is small group conversations, one-on-one conversations. I did a survey and just made myself available to talk to people and hear all of the great things that were happening in Albany that people wanted to see continue. And I also listened for areas of improvement. And through that listening campaign, I developed a 90-day plan, which I presented to the board and got to work. What I realized is that a big part of what we needed and what I've spent a lot of time thinking about and working with my team on is rebuilding systems that once had existed in Albany, but due to COVID, started to kind of break down or were non-existent. And not just because of COVID, but because of all of the history of what happened prior to my superintendency, including something as simple as moving the district office from one place to another. Systems break down. And right now, I'm in the phase where I would say I'm in the reflective phase and really trying to calibrate and think about what the next part of my superintendency will hold. So I just want to remind everyone of the strengths. Albany is such an incredible place. We talk about this all the time. People come to Albany because of the schools. People move here. They are excited about the schools, and as a parent of a child in one of our schools, I have to say that I agree. I think we have incredible teachers, we have incredible leaders, we have incredible classified staff working so hard each and every day to make our schools what they are. So, we remain high performing. We have very strong graduation rates when you compare them across other systems. And we have really high academic achievement for most of our kids. We have deeply committed educators and extremely engaged families. And we have students, and again, as a very student-focused leader, this is something that is very exciting to me. We have students who demonstrate continuous creativity and leadership. And we also have some structural challenges. And so I just want to name that both realities can coexist at the same time. And this is what I learned during our listening campaign, and this is also what I've learned over my time here. And some of these things have nothing to do with Albany. It's just what we're dealing with right now. So we have, for sure, unpredictable enrollment shifts. Currently in Albany, we're very fortunate. We do not have declining enrollment. We have TK students coming each and every day, and we have other families who are coming and moving into Albany regularly. That's amazing. We're very, very fortunate. But we also know that in California right now, as well as across the country, enrollment's very unpredictable. And we know that our enrollment drives our budget. We have major structural funding limitations in California. This is something that I've talked about before, something that we're not the only district facing this. And it is something that I think as a system, we need to really work together across the system to help make some changes in California. California is not funding schools at the rate that they need to be funded at. And in the face of that, we also have rising operational costs. The cost of living, the cost of materials and supplies. We're about to go into some really exciting work with our facilities master plan and doing some modernization and construction. We know that the way the economy is right now, those costs are going to continue to move up. And we also continue to really see that our students need more support around mental health. I will say that we are, and I've said this before, in the 33 plus years that I've been an educator, I have never seen a time like this before. And I think a huge part of it started with our situation with COVID, and we continue to really struggle with it. But it's not just COVID. We know that social media, we know that the way the state of the world right now, it's really challenging for our kids. And so we really need to address that. Also, when at the beginning of the year, we did a survey, and I'll be sending out another survey to see where people are right now, but we wanted to know how are people feeling our district is doing in terms of some of these things that I heard during the listening campaign that we needed to address. One of them being fiscal responsibility, collaboration and trust, and communication and transparency. Ultimately, through that survey, we kind of got what my son would say, meh. It was meh. We can do better, we know that. But it did give us a baseline. And the takeaway is that our community and students experience our organization through how we respond and follow through. And so if we have really high quality customer service and we are consistent and we hold ourselves with integrity and we hold ourselves with the consistent knowledge that we're here to serve each and every student, then we will start to see improvement in this. And again, a big part of this is taking something that had, I think, very fragmented pieces around systems and putting those systems together into something that makes sense and really is driving us towards our North Star, which is our profile of a graduate, which is what we want our students to leave Albany knowing, understanding, being able to do, and being prepared for in the world. So this year, my goals, I had 8 goals, which is actually kind of a lot. But this is the work that we're doing as a district. And so, of course, my goals should align with what we're doing as a district. I think the most important thing I want to name is that, yes, we are a very high-performing district. We do a really great job for most kids. And for me, each child needs to be successful. Each child needs to have access to whatever it is that they are wanting to do in their life. And so a huge part of that is closing those opportunity and proficiency gaps. And I do want to say that we have already made growth here. We've done some really hard change work, not always the most popular work this year. And what we are seeing is we're starting to see some results. I also would say that that's not just because of the changes we've made. I really want to name that we have extremely strong, dedicated teachers who work really, really hard each and every day and care deeply about our kids. We do need to improve academic growth for all. One of the goals is to reduce absenteeism and strengthen belonging. So far, we're seeing that our absenteeism, our chronic absenteeism is going down, which is huge. Again, if we look at this across different districts, we're actually, we're doing better in a lot of ways. And part of what I think is happening there is that we do have some programs here, our S3 spaces, our community coordinators at our elementaries. We have a ton of really exciting and interesting things that kids can do at school. I actually just saw an article today about how sports is one of the main reasons why kids come to school, and we have so many different opportunities for sports, not just in high school, but also in middle school, which is somewhat unique to Albany. And we also have, of course, our incredible performing arts, music, drama, visual arts, et cetera. And we are seeing that we're seeing results here as well in terms of suspension rates and disproportionality in suspension rates. A big goal that I'm not sure we've hit, and something I want us to consider and continue to think about for next year, is recruiting and retaining diverse, high-quality staff. We want our staff to actually look like the students that we serve, and we are an incredibly diverse community. We want to see that our staff represents that. But that said, we also want to retain the amazing staff that we do have. And so this is something that we need to continue to work on. One of the things I feel really proud of and that I feel like we've done some really great work on is strengthening data-informed decision-making. We actually have regular data that we can pull, not just our end-of-year academic data, but regular, at least 3 times a year data that we can look at, and we have a system for that. We are presenting that data regularly through our vital signs presentations, and we're currently working on a data platform that will be available on our website for people to be able to see data regularly. Another area that I think we need to continue to enhance and grow in, but is a goal, is enhancing communication and inclusion. One of the things that I heard loud and clear is that part of this is increasing transparency. And so the goal that I had around this is connected to Goal 7, which is to increase transparency around how budget decisions are made. One of the things I heard so often in the listening campaign was, we're not sure how the budget is used. We're not sure how decisions are made with the budget. We're not sure what the process is. We don't know who decides. And so one of the big goals that I've had and that I feel proud of that we've worked on is really getting a budget process in place. And thanks to CBO Wu for coming in and jumping in and working with me on this. We actually have now a very, very clear system around budgeting, and it is more transparent than before, and it's getting more and more transparent as we go. A part of Goal 7 is also operational excellence. Again, this is something I think that we need to continue to improve. One of the things I want to make sure of, and I think that this goes to Goal 3 as well, around strengthening belonging, is that we have to have excellent customer service. We have to, when people come and ask for support from the district office or from anywhere across the district, people need to know that we hear them and see them, and that we are going to do what we need to do to support them. So this is something that I am continuing to really think about for next year. And I think that goes to building trust and confidence across the community. For sure, part of building trust is for me to be visible, to continue to listen, and to build relationships. And I do want to say that a big part of this also is that it's not one-sided. That I need, in order for me to build trust, I also need folks to be willing to build that trust with me. And so this is something we're still working on. So just a visual of, I think, some of the celebrations. I think we have a lot to celebrate. We are seeing growth. This is really from our mid-year vital signs presentation, but we're seeing some really great growth in our literacy data, especially for our littles. We're seeing that kids are maintaining their understanding in literacy or advancing. And again, our attendance rate is it's good. It could be better, and it's, I think, for us. Again, if you're looking across different districts, we're at a pretty good rate. But we still want to pay attention to our disproportionality. We still want to make sure that we're increasing all of these things for our most historically marginalized and racialized communities. And so two that we've really highlighted are our Black students and our Latino students. But we're seeing growth. We're seeing growth. I did actually ask our principals about their experience with the new budgeting platform and system, and ultimately we got really high ratings for their ability to understand how the school plans align to the budget, their clarity on base staffing versus their discretionary decisions. Confidence in using data to guide allocation is still something we need to work on, but still, fairly decent. Getting the appropriate level of support and coaching was definitely there, and that there were very clear expectations and timelines. I love this quote. I feel more confident in knowing how to do this process overall, and will be able to plan my site council meetings and the information in them earlier in the year. That's actually what we wanted. We wanted this process to be something that's predictable and that is used in the planning for schools, and that, I've said this before, but the budget is basically the site plan in numbers, and so they really need to match. And that engagement process needs to start early and really be robust and something that community feels really connected to. So some of my reflections, as I said, this has been a time of reflection. I know I can go fast. I said that in my interview. I don't think people believed me, but I really, truly know that that is an area of growth for me. And so I have been working really, really hard to slow down and to continue to do that. And so again, I want us to think about shifting from rapid implementation, which we've done, to more collaborative change, which I think we're working on this year. My team has done an incredible job supporting me with that. Focus on shared ownership and people-centered leadership is something that I really want to focus on. Balancing the urgency for student outcomes with thoughtful change management. Again, because one of my core principles as a leader is being student-centered, and specifically for our most historically marginalized students, I feel a great sense of urgency to get them what they need today. I don't feel like our kids can wait, and it is really important to me that we do that work. And I also know that it's not going to go well if we're not bringing all of our folks along and ensuring that they understand and that we all have a shared sense of that. And so for me, communication matters, both in what we say and how we say it. And again, I just want to reiterate that trust is built in both directions. So not to belabor the point, but we have some pillars. These continue, I think, to be the things we need to focus on. Still continuing to close opportunity gaps, continuing to focus on literacy specifically. I know that there's urgency and we do need to move towards math instruction, and we are definitely preparing for that. And we also need to make sure that we continue to hold ourselves accountable for all of our students being readers, especially by third grade. We want to continue to focus on data-informed decision-making, and so we need to see which data is working for us to make decisions and which data we still need to pull and what information we need that we don't currently have to make good decisions. Fostering a sense of belonging and so that we have high quality, or so that students come to school continues to be important. Continuing to focus on staff diversity and retention, and continuing to focus on trust and fiscal excellence. I don't believe that these should change for next year. I think these continue to be our goals, but of course that's something that we'll be discussing as we put my next set of goals together. So for me, right now, it's about sustaining and maintaining and making sure that we stabilize. I want to continue to cultivate and support our site leaders to to foster those highly collaborative school environments. One of the things we've worked on this year is building up our instructional leadership teams, our ILTs. We're going to continue to do that because that is a way to build trust, shared decision-making, and keep the decisions closest to where the students are. And continuing to develop a graduate profile, which will really help us get ready for the next iteration of our LCAP as well as our strategic plan. So here's what I need to be successful. I need time to build strong systems. We're doing work to strengthen communication, transparency, and trust, but it doesn't happen quickly. It's not fast. And so we need to make sure that we continue to do this, but also understand that it takes time. We need to, what I need is to have people come to me with curiosity over assumption. So when information is incomplete, often people will make up their own story. And what I actually need is for folks to ask questions rather than come to conclusions. And I need us to stay grounded in our shared commitment to our students. I'm asking for people to go to the source, seek information from the person closest to the work to ensure clarity and accuracy. So if there are concerns or questions about decisions that are made, or if people feel like they haven't been a part of the decision, I ask that people go and ask the leader that they work closest with. And for me, again, what I am trying to do is keep those decisions closest to the students and closest to the work. And the last thing I ask for is grace. I really hope that there can be a shared belief that when I say I will do something, I will follow through. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the board committee updates. Trustee Boyd, I'll start with you. Do you have any board committee updates since the last time we met?
I don't.
Yeah. Trustee Hopwood?
I do. It's been a while because our last meeting we didn't do our updates, but I attended the Special Education Advisory Committee meeting last month, actually a month ago, which was great. Dr. Sweta Chawla, one of the members, presented the results of an anonymous special education survey that she had crafted and distributed and collated, and so that was wonderful, great engagement from committee members on that day. And there is next week a community special education meetup outside the district office on Solano. So on the 23rd of April, next Thursday, between 10 and 11, with the transition program. Also, I should mention I went to the Coffee Transition Express. I know that President...
Fantastic. I've been there a couple of times. It's great.
So I went on the 26th of March, and it was outside the district office. That was wonderful. I had a really good hot chocolate. And that is happening again. It's coming Thursday on the 16th outside Coyote Kids, Solano, which is at 1272 Solano. I don't have any more commitments.
Vice President Inglis?
I have one, and mine is also a little old. But Superintendent Stone and I met with Jen Loy, who is the Associate Director of Government and Community Relations at UC Berkeley, a few weeks ago. And the purpose of the meeting is to restart our relationship between KALB, Giltrap Farm, and AUSD. So to work and collaborate. It was a great learning for us, a lot of background on Giltrap Farm that we didn't know about. And we'll be meeting twice a year at this point to collaborate and talk about ways that we can all work together in the future.
Thank you. I have one old one and one recent one. So about a month ago, we had the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. We talked about putting together an update for the board on status of the bond sales and what have you as part of the annual updates that they do. Also a brief conversation about the selling of bonds and what have you. I will note that I believe we have 3 vacancies: a business community representative, a taxpayer organization representative, and a public at large community representative. So those I believe are already posted, but if you're interested at all, it's a really great way to get involved in kind of how we spend those bond dollars to support our infrastructure. And then just last night, we had a Tech Master Planning Committee meeting. As I've mentioned before, we kind of divided up into 4 different subgroups. This was a coming back together of those 4 groups. We reviewed each other's work, and the next steps are ours assembling all those 4 parts together, putting it together in one giant master plan, reviewing that, and then that'll show up before this board in the June timeframe. Moving on to board member reports. Trustee Boyd, I'll start with you.
Thank you. I do have 2 things. This first one could have been a committee update since Trustee Khan is not here. I will just share that both of us attended the Equity Council meeting before break with superintendent, members of district office, and various representatives from our parent affinity groups, our family caregiver affinity groups. And just want to appreciate and acknowledge the openness and vulnerability and coming together of different members of those communities. I had to leave early because it conflicted with a choir concert, but I very much appreciate all of the work and openness that people are bringing to that council. And then relatedly, I did have the pleasure before break of attending the middle school and high school choir concerts. They're just such a wonderfully high caliber of music, songs presented in various languages with various movements and number of student musicians from throughout our high school who accompany the groups, and representation of social justice movements as well. Just really such exceptional music. And I do want to just take a moment to really applaud and acknowledge the work of Kate Huizinga, who has just brought so much to our choral music programs. Will be greatly missed. Just has functioned at such a high caliber and really provided exceptional opportunities to all of our students, including my 2 daughters in particular. So just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge everything that she has brought to the district and just the wonderful choral music programs that we have the honor of being able to observe and to participate in.
Thank you so much. Trustee Hopwood?
Yeah, I have some. So I attended the high school freshman forum one of those days on the 27th of March to listen to presentations from groups. I listened to some one was gender pay gap, one was fast fashion, always very enlightening. And those freshmen did a fantastic job answering questions and presenting. And then my 2 sites are Marin School and ACC. Marin is hosting its annual Moonlight Auction this coming Saturday, which I will be attending. I'm very much looking forward to that. So those tickets are still available for that for any members of the Marin School community, and it's a fundraiser for the PTA. It's going to be at Ocean View Brew Works on Saturday. And then I also want to mention the following Saturday is the Albany Children's Centre Spring Fling on the 25th, which takes place from 10 till 1. So I just want to read some of the description of what's to look forward to that day. So the playground will be open. There'll be games and activities for young children, like face painting, treasure hunt in the sand. There's a raffle with some fantastic prizes. And there's food available. Albany Fire Department will be there with a fire engine and an ambulance. So I'm quite excited about that. And so some of the prizes, things like gift cards to the Natural Grocery Store and Flowerland, and there's a chocolate tasting prize. That sounds awesome. Right, a Sonoma train town passes. So anyway, lots of really exciting raffle prizes. So that is Saturday 25th from 10 till 1 up at the Children's Centre. So look forward to seeing everyone there. Thank you, and that's everything from me.
Vice President Inglis?
Yes, I am AMS is my school, but I also have some updates for the high school. The spring soiree at AMS is happening Thursday, and if you've never attended, it's pretty awesome. It's for students only. It's basically a big after-school party. So that's happening. And the next Parent Ed Night is on May 14th, and the topic is financial skills for teens. So it seems like something even high school parents can listen to. So I also attended both the AMS and the AHS Site Council meetings, and we reviewed the safety plans for both. And a big thank you to the AMSPTA because they are taking on the very large project of updating the emergency bags for the school. For the high school, the prom took place Saturday of break, and I saw lots of pictures. I heard it was a beautiful setting, and the food was amazing, which is a huge improvement from last year, the kids tell me. Teacher appreciation is Monday, the 20th, so if you can participate, contribute, they would appreciate it. Chamber singers are headed to the Golden State Choral Competition on April 21st. There is a free AI educational event on April 25th that the Writer Coach Connection program is putting on. And the final theater performance of the year is happening May 8th and May 9th. It is Space Princess Wars. Don't really know what that is. Actually, somebody explained it, but I can't remember. Princess Bride and Star Wars, I think, maybe. Anyway, I hear it's super fun, and it'll be on May 8th and May 9th.
The final performance is always the senior directed performance. Is always a bunch of fun, and I will also reiterate Trustee Hopwood's kudos for. I also attended the freshman forum at the high school, which is always fun to go to and just see lots of young people wrestling with really serious topics and really engaging in our world and our community, and that's really terrific to see. I've got some updates from Ocean View. Note that this week's PTA meeting is canceled, so next PTA meeting is going to be in May. On Sunday the 19th, we've got multicultural night at the multipurpose room. There's a sign up in the email that was sent out, I believe, earlier this week. Wednesday the 22nd, we've got the Earth Day sing-along, and on Friday the 24th is coffee with the principal. And then I want to talk a little bit about kind of a thought that I had recently. I was asked about my background in education, and I was reminded of my time back in the last century when I was working for the Council of Chief State School Officers. The Council of Chief State School Officers is an educational nonprofit in DC that represents the heads of education in each of the 50 states plus territories, et cetera. And they do a bunch of different activities, including running the National Teacher of the Year program. When I was there, the Council of Chief State School Officers helped form an organization called the Learning First Alliance. It was a collection of, I guess it still is a collection of educational organizations across the spectrum. So it's the American Association of School Administrators, AKA the superintendents, the American Federation of Teachers, and the National Educational Association, the two largest teachers unions, the National PTA, National School Boards Association, as well as the National Association of Elementary School Principals and the National Association of Secondary School Principals. And you know that now that every part of the educational system has its own representation in Washington. But basically all these kind of main educational organizations came together because they realized they had a common interest, public education. Rather than working independently, if they worked together, they could have a louder voice in advocating for education at the national level. When I reflected upon Albany, I see kind of a similar opportunity for us that I saw with the Learning First Alliance. That if we can work together, we can have a larger voice about what happens in our schools, and particularly as I'm thinking about the current situations from a funding and budgeting perspective and some of the things that are happening in Sacramento. Okay.
Tony?
Yes, Trustee Boyd.
Apologies. I missed a couple announcements for Cornell. If I could just take 1 minute.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that. So we have Fun Fitness Week coming up April 20th to 24th. There will be a big kickoff party in the Cornell Yard on April 19th, 2 p.m. with a bike blender smoothie station. There's a link to sign up for the last fundraiser of the year, which coincides, and the class with the most signups gets a popsicle party. So that's circulated in the newsletter if you're looking for that link. And then just looking ahead a little bit, we have a PTA meeting coming up on April 29th and a PTA movie night coming up on May 1st. Thank you.
No worries. Nothing motivates like popsicles. Okay, now we'll move on to staff reports. CBO Wu, I think you're up for the deferred maintenance plan overview.
screen or, okay.
Just a moment. Here we go.
Oh, let's see, we'll do that. Yes. Yes. It's working. Good evening, Superintendent, Board of Trustees, student trustees, Executive Assistant to the Superintendent.
Mike.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay, sorry. I overestimated my height, sorry. I'm here today to give you guys an update with regards to the deferred maintenance plan. Oftentimes, I'm responsible for basically coming up to the podium, proposing for approvals of project costs and so forth. On a day-to-day basis, I'm always like approving invoices, payments, purchase orders, and so forth. And many of these things have a lot to do with our facilities. A lot of the project costs are coming in some cases, astronomical prices, in my perspective. And in addition to that, I've had the privilege of working with HKIT, with the Facilities Master Planning Steering Committee, to get updates on, you know, the state of our facilities, what are some of the things we should pay attention to, what are the fixes that we need to really focus on first. And with that said, sometimes I'm also hearing on this other ear, right? Oh my gosh, my HVAC over here is broken. We need to fix that. We should use the bond. So a lot of people are often already kind of advising that I should pull from bond funds to pay for a lot of the maintenance related things. And so I'm here to actually clarify what the difference is. A deferred maintenance plan is needed to protect our assets. It's to reduce risk and control long-term cost. Delaying maintenance leads to unplanned costly repairs and unforeseen downtime and potential safety or compliance issues. By identifying and prioritizing like the maintenance needs organizations, we're basically moving from a reactive state to a proactive planning state. And in a future slide, you'll see why that's important. Ultimately, a deferred maintenance plan ensures operational continuity while turning maintenance into a strategic, cost-effective function. And so this time I didn't have like a super creative chart up there for you, but the illustration is really kind of like stating how the stock market is currently functioning. So when, you know, today in the news, I heard that we're gonna do this today. All of a sudden, people are rushing out to buy a whole lot of stocks. The next day, the news changes, and oh, the unemployment report came back not as planned. All of a sudden, people are rushing again. They're reacting, and they're selling off all their stocks. So if you're paying attention to the way the stock market moves, it's like constantly up and down, up and down, up and down. And when we're talking about public funds, we can't afford to operate in that way. We need to do some proactive planning. So the district's vision is rooted in community and rising in possibilities, right? We're totally focused on meeting the student potential with no constraints. The physical reality, well, some of our structures are aging faster than others, and it needs a lot of attention. So the infrastructure introduces operational friction. When the facilities fail, learning is disrupted. How does that disrupt? Well, sometimes the cooling system goes off in a classroom on a super 90-degree day, a super hot day, and it makes it hard to concentrate. Is that something that we could have probably prevented? Probably. You know, if we actually focused on a deferred maintenance plan and had it scheduled on there, it's not to say that nothing would ever break, but this to say that if we do proactive planning, we could fix a majority of these in advance. A deferred maintenance plan is basically looking at our repairs on our fixtures, our maintenance on a shorter term. It's within 1 to 5 years. When you look at a facilities master plan, they're talking about modernizations of buildings and structures and so forth, and maybe even systems. If you were still, you know, with the old boiler room heating, like the old school days that Cornell had, a longer term plan would actually be to update the facility, put the HVAC system in place, and so forth. But we're thinking probably somewhere around the 10 to 30 year down the road vision. Somewhere in between that, I'd hope that I'd be retired, but I still care about what happens to our facilities here today. So with that said, what are some of the things we need to focus on? The anatomy of a deferred maintenance plan. There's 4 primary categories. We're talking about major building systems, the end-of-life replacements for core infrastructure. Roofing, to me, is a big concern, especially because the weather patterns have changed recently, and we're experiencing like atmospheric river type of storms. And so we've experienced a lot of like leaking and water damage in quite a few places over the last wave of storms. Interior, exterior surfaces. It goes a little bit beyond like just beautification of the campuses. It's also protecting the structure itself, right? The walls. It also helps to prevent moisture from seeping into the walls, which could then ultimately cause severe damage. Site and infrastructure, we're talking about resurfacing. You know, we use the grounds a lot. Outdoor basketball courts, driveways, those types of things go through their also normal wear and tear, and it needs repair. Not necessarily like a bond project, but it would be something that, you know, is like normal wear and tear. We need to have that on our radar on approximately when we should fix that. Compliance mandates, legal prerequisites for maintaining a rolling 5-year master plan. So in order for us to be Prop 2 eligible, we must have an updated facilities master plan, and we must have an updated deferred maintenance plan. Some of it goes hand in hand, and we'll explain why. But before that, my favorite subject is to talk about the money first. So the orange represents basically our reactive phase. The blue represents our proactive phase. So you can see that over time, this is kind of mapping for us the difference between what our emergency reactive repair costs are versus what our planned maintenance costs are. So if we plan in advance, we actually could save the district money on the longer term. The system condition tracker. Part 1 is tracking the failures. You know, we've been hearing about HVAC a lot, and we're tending to those. But that is, 1, tracking where are all of our systems really not functioning the way that we need them to. We need to categorize and assign the urgency. So obviously, the most critical is anything that might impact safety and security. And then some of the other things in terms of like maybe moderate type of repairs that need to be replaced. So our gym wall over at the middle school, for instance, had experienced some gym floor damage, and we had to go figure out what was going on with the walls because it was the second time we were going there to repair the floors. And ultimately, we found out that, yes, water was slowly seeping in, and it made its way to the gym floors. And what we don't want to do is to be reactive and to set ourselves up so that we're constantly just repairing floors. There's other things that we can be doing with those funds as well, right, if we do it correctly. And then the next phase is really scheduling those replacements. So a deferred maintenance plan puts these types of things on the radar, and it allows for us to start scheduling when do we anticipate we should start paying attention to repairing these things. High urgency, poor condition. Here's a couple of examples of high urgency and also things that we need to tend to that's poor condition. The AMS bathrooms and the cafeteria. The issues, it's worn, the fixtures, insufficient capacity, undersized cafeteria. It came up on the facilities master planning as well. And then, you know, for the Cornell portables, they're aging, they're in poor condition, they need to be tended to, right? It's kind of an immediate urgency in a sense that, you know, it can't weather some of these storms anymore. I've actually walked over and seen the damage like right after the rain, and it's not good. But you know, if we're planning in advance for something like that, hopefully we can avoid that going forward. But to replace a whole portable right now could be very, very costly. The general fund baseline. So the requirement is that 3% of our general fund expenditures must be allocated towards routine repairs and maintenance. Routine repairs and maintenance types of things, though, are the daily things like, you know, my toilet's clogged, right? We have to go fix it today. Or we might have a leak a small leak, a minor leak in one of the kitchens, then we have to go fix that. So the routine repairs and maintenance type of funds that we're setting aside, it's not sufficient to really pay for the deferred maintenance projects that I'm talking about. Funding the vision and the financial duality. I won't take credit for all the graphics, but it's much prettier than what I could have drummed up. So neither stream can actually act alone. So the community invests in bonds, right? And the bonds allow for us to be able to also then go out and qualify for state facilities funding to help supplement that. It goes hand in hand. One or the other is not sufficient. But to qualify for the state part, we also have to have proven community investment as well. There's four primary, this is a matrix, so there's four primary areas that kind of spell out the differences between what the local bonds are for and also what the state funding is for. I won't read through all of these, but in terms of eligible uses, I like to focus on that a lot because part of one of the things that's my primary goal is to make sure that we stay compliant with the use of all of our funds. So for local bonds, capital improvements, modernization, and construction, when we get state funding, it's specific, and it's almost like getting a restricted fund. And so it's prescribing what you're really allowed to kind of help improve with those funds. It is a lock and key mechanism. I talked a little bit about Prop 2 earlier, and the only way that we can access those funds, the local bond contribution that we have, is the key to help us unlock those, our eligibility for our additional state funds. It's a continuous cycle. It's not one of the things where even with the facilities master plan and they go ahead and they modernize a full building, it's said and done. I wish that was the case, but there's ongoing maintenance, right? And then there's going to be also deferred maintenance that we have to focus on down the road. So even with, I should talk about Marin because the HVAC thing came up recently a lot. So even with a more modernized campus, the HVAC system is a few years old now. And so some of the things are starting to kind of like hunker down and need us to pay more attention to, and that's what we've been doing. So what we want to do is to put those types of things on a deferred maintenance plan so we're planning for it in advance and not getting that emergency call saying, hey, we got to come and pay attention and fix this right away. Who can we get? Because as soon as you call somebody on an emergency basis, that's when the prices actually go up. So the life cycle of this ecosystem is that we have the local bonds. It leads access for us to have state funds, and then that helps us to then feed into things that we could fund for the facilities master plan. And in addition, the facilities master plan will also spell out some of the things that probably belong on a deferred maintenance plan. This is not meant to like talk about the facilities master plan, but this is just to give a quick reminder with regards of the phases of what happens when we're developing one. So in phase one, it's basically spent with a lot of energy prioritizing its district-wide planning on the principles. Our partners with HKIT have gone out to the community and actually spoken and gotten a lot of feedback with regards to what they think our facilities priorities should be. Phase two is drafting up the master plan itself with options. If someone says we need to add a couple more classrooms on a campus, they're drafting the plans for us. And then once we draft up the plans, what's the implementation? Well, that depends, right? Right now, we're working on getting an estimate on what the cost would be for each of those options that they're trying to help us lay out, and that will help us then to prioritize what we should be focusing on. The financial roadmap. So this tells us some of the things that are aging right now and over the years what it could cost. These are not exact cost estimates. It's not exactly the back of an envelope type of an estimate either, but we've taken into account data that's kind of available to us right now. As I mentioned, HKIT is working on getting us some true cost estimates, but you can see, you know, in 2026, it looks like we could triage the elevators, HVAC, the roof, approximation, a little over more than $500,000. Then over the years, as other things start to build on top of that, you could see the cost of these things start to climb. So let's say in 2027, Cornell portables, the bathrooms, we really need to start paying attention to that. That adds another $2.5 million of cost. Then in 2028, the ACC playground's starting to become very rough and rugged, and we need to start repairing those, because it could be, for safety hazard reasons that, we need to focus and put high urgency on that. The cost climbs to almost $3 million. And you can see that over the years, as these things start to need attention, it could get in upwards of $9 million. I've seen the full immediate draft list of some of the stuff that could be counted towards a deferred maintenance plan, which fall into these categories in multiple campuses. And I can tell you that I can see that the estimate for that is higher than the $9 million. We're looking probably closer to about $15 million of deferred maintenance. So just some, food for thought. But you can imagine, if we continue to ignore these things, we don't have a deferred maintenance plan, we don't fix it until it's broke. If we don't fix it until it's broke, I could tell you that $9 million could easily be doubled, just for the things that are highlighted there. When we're taking a look at the implementation phase, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, so I won't walk you through every single step. Community engagement, cost synthesis, presentation, potential board action, and then we go into the implementation planning, which I'm very much so looking forward to. It may not seem like this has been a fun process, but actually, as you see it progress, and you could start to see the vision and the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm getting more and more excited as we get closer and closer to the implementation phase of the facilities master plan. So with that said, any questions? So there's more to come. The next steps is really then refining and coming down to a full list of details and projected costs.
Go to the board for questions. Any questions, starting with our student board members? Other questions for the board?
I have a question.
Yes.
So at the beginning of the presentation, you said we have to set aside 3% for maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these items you referred to as being in deferred maintenance, which look bigger than, fixing a leak here and there.
Yes.
Where do we have the money for that? Where is it coming from? Do we have the state funds that are on there?
We have some of the state funds. We're also working actually with our school facility partners with regards to looking at our qualifications for additional funding. But as you know, the timing of when the state makes those funds available could be lingering down the road. So they're not immediately available. But certainly, as we identify the things that need attention now, the way that works is that we develop a DSA-approved plan, come up with the cost estimate. Some of them, if it's more urgent, like safety, security things, we need to start repairing them right away. But that does help us qualify then to access those funds in the future.
Can I just add that also helps us to figure out exactly what our budget needs to be for the projects that are determined for that time span. And so without a deferred maintenance plan, which we've been operating without, it's hard to budget.
Yep. I'm looking forward to actually having a more refined plan, so that tells us then what we should be recommending to you all on how much we should be setting aside to be able to accommodate that. Mm-hmm.
I guess kind of along those lines, I fully expect that the deferred maintenance plan will be more than we can set aside. Maybe I'm a pessimist on that one. But knowing that, how do we think about where we invest from a deferred maintenance perspective and where we're going to have to roll the dice? That make sense?
Could you say that part again?
So I fully expect that
I don't want to roll a dice.
you're going to put together the list of deferred maintenance items.
Right.
And it's going to, I fully expect that number is going to be quite large. Mm-hmm. As we said, we've been operating without a deferred maintenance plan, which is probably creating even more deferred maintenance than we should otherwise have.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
I suspect we aren't going to be able to afford everything on the plan.
Correct.
Right? So we're going to have to make a decision about which of the things we actually go after from a maintenance perspective, and some things we won't go after it. I'm calling those a roll of the dice because it's going to be deferred maintenance that we're going to eventually, who knows whether that roof's going to last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And if we get lucky, it's 5 years and we're all good. But if it's not a good, it's an El Nino year or whatever, and it's a 2-year deal, we're in real trouble. So how do we start to think about making that kind of a trade-off? Does that make sense now?
Yes. So I do agree with you that we can't do everything. Just like even with the facilities master plan, as we're looking 10, 30 years down the road, we're not going to have enough bond money today to do all of those things per se. But certainly, I think we need to identify it so that we can actually assess our own risk. So, some of those things you roll the dice, I have an example of that. I recently fixed my own HVAC system at home. I've been rolling the dice on that for 20 years, which is amazing, right? Every year we fix the condenser, we fix the capacitor, we tinker with it, put a little bit of maintenance dollars on it, and we keep it kicking for another year. And we kept doing that for 20 years until finally it clunked out. I was finally told that system was more than 50 years old. And we made it work. So sometimes you get a little bit lucky, you fix it, you tinker with it, do some replacement parts, and you could keep it going and keep it on that deferred list a little bit longer than perhaps some of the other items. So that will be more of the challenging task, is figuring out what are the things we must prioritize first.
And then will we as a board get to look at what that list is when we kind of
Yes.
together? Okay,
Yes,
great.
for sure.
I love to both see it and kind of both from a completeness perspective and then understand thinking around what are the play order in which we're thinking about going after it.
Yes.
Other questions? Great. Thank you. I think we'll move on to our review and action items. Our first item is, who's doing this? This is the review. We're just calling in. Okay, great. Review and approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
Sorry,
No?
President Mahoney, I just got a text that Melissa Boyd had raised her hand during CBO's presentation.
I'm so sorry, Trustee Boyd. I can't see you on the screen.
So sorry.
CBO, you've got to return.
Could you come back up, please, for her question?
I had raised my hand during the board member reports, and then I just went off mute and interrupted so I could get in my Cornell stuff. So we're all good.
Oh, thank you. Wonderful. Okay, wonderful.
Great, CBO, you're back off the hot seat. I still can't see you, Trustee Boyd, but we've got CHRO Gonzalez is going to be up for the need for fully qualified educators.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
You can hear me? Okay. So this is a routine item that we bring and districts bring each year. Specifically, this is to allow us to apply for what we call emergency credentials. So when a person, goes through a credentialing program, they usually have a focus on some content area, math, science, or a multiple subject. And then they're limited to being only in that teaching in that content area. But there are times when folks are maybe seeking a second authorization, or we have folks who go on maternity leave and we need to backfill with a sub who maybe doesn't have that credential or doesn't have a credential yet, is still going through their program, that sort of thing. And this allows us to apply. This declaration of need has to be on file with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing in order for us to apply for any type of emergency credential. And so that's the purpose of this item here.
Questions from the board, starting with student board members? No. Any questions or comments from the public? Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
I second.
We'll need to do a roll call.
Student Trustee Chodak?
Yes.
Student Trustee Shepard?
Yes.
Trustee Boyd?
Yes.
Trustee Hopwood?
Yes.
Vice President Inclus?
Yes.
President Mahoney?
Yes. Motion passes. Marina, you're still up for item B, approve resolution number 2025-26-12, certificated assignments outside credentialed authorization.
So here again, this is a credentialing item. Again, the commission allows for special exceptions for folks to be outside of their credentialing area. And in this case, this is what we call a local assignment option, where we as a district have determined that the employee listed, and sometimes employees, have done this work long enough that we find them to be qualified to teach in this particular content area. And so we pass this resolution and we have it on file, and so that we don't get a misassignment with the commission.
Any questions from the board? Comments from the public or on Zoom? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2025-2612, certificated assignments outside credential authorization.
I second.
Can I have a roll call?
Student trustee Chodak,
Yes.
student trustee Shepard,
Yes.
trustee Boyd,
Yes.
trustee Hopwood,
Yes.
Vice President Inglis,
Yes.
President Mahoney.
Yes. Thank you. The motion passes. Now, CBOU, I believe you're back up for the approval for resolution 2025-26-13, authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds of the AUSD.
Thank you. This is going to be a two-parter. The first resolution is asking the board to authorize us to go out and actually start the process of issuing the bonds. I think maybe one of our partners from ORIC may be on Zoom.
We have a hand raised. I'm assuming that's the person.
Yes.
I'm going to allow to talk. Go ahead. We believe you're on.
Great. Thank you.
No, we've got two. I'm confused. Is it Lauren Herrera or John Palmer?
John Palmer.
I'm sorry, Laura Herrera. I'm going to
Although
mute you
Laura
for a
might be the
moment
team
and let
member.
John Palmer up. I hope I didn't screw that up. Allow to talk. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say hi and thank you for having me. Lauren's actually my colleague.
Yes. I had a feeling. Yeah, so this is the first part, is authorizing us to actually go out and issue the bond issuance for the first part, the Measure L, the $64 million that we want to be able to gain access to. It's going to be in thirds. So typically you don't want to issue it all at once because you're not going to spend it all at once. We have to go in phases as we need to access the funds for our project. So the first phase is going to be $20 million.
Questions from the board? Do we have a sense of, can we articulate some of the projects that will be used with that first phase?
We will be prioritizing that once we finish the facilities master plan.
Okay, great. Okay, yeah, well, see if we're paying attention. Any comments from the room? Any comments on Zoom? I see none. Do I have a motion? Vice President Inglis, you're up this time.
I move to approve resolution number 2025-26-13, authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds of the Albany Unified School District.
I'll second.
Great, can we have a roll call, please?
Student trustee Chodak,
Yes.
student trustee Shepard,
Yes.
trustee Boyd,
Yes.
trustee Hopwood,
Yes.
Vice President Inglis,
Yes.
President Mahoney.
Yes, the motion passes. On to the next of our two bond items today. This is on the authorization of the issuance and sale of general obligation refunding bonds of the school district. Go ahead, CBO.
Yes, so we're recommending that the board approves resolution 2025-2614. This is the refunding portion of our bond issuance. So many of our older bonds have call dates up to today now, so we can actually refinance that. Back in March, Makiko from ISOM Advisors came and did a presentation and talked about why it's a good idea to do some refunding to help save some taxpayers some funds. So this is what this resolution is related to.
Any questions from the board? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 2025-2614, authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation refunding bonds of the Albany Unified School District.
I'll second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Student trustee Chodak,
Yes.
student trustee Shepard,
Yes.
trustee Boyd,
Yes.
trustee Hopwood,
Yes.
vice president Inglis,
Yes.
president Mahoney.
Yes. Great, the motion passes.
Thank you.
And now we are on to the review and approve the construction management contract with Capital Program Management.
I'll just stay up here. I'm kidding. All right. At this time, I'd like to invite Mike Wasserman up here, who's representing the Capital Program Management Group. We're super excited. We went through a whole RFP process, and all of the panelists selected this firm to help us oversee some of our bigger projects and monitor that. And with that, Mike?
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate the opportunity to get to represent you and help you implement your bond program. We have a lot of experience doing that. We've been in business 26 years and worked with districts throughout the state, and have a lot of very happy clients, and we hope to make you one as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the recommendation is for the board to approve the contract for Capital Program Management, Inc.
Do you have any questions from the board? Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the construction management contract with Capital Program Management, Inc.
Second.
Great, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Student trustee Chodak,
Yes.
student trustee Shepard,
Yes.
trustee Boyd,
Yes.
trustee Hopwood,
Yes.
vice president Inglis,
Yes.
president Mahoney.
Yes, the motion passes.
Great. Thank
Look
you.
forward to
so
working
much.
with you. Fantastic.
Congratulations. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Next up, the authorization to develop an agreement for legislative monitoring analysis and advisory services related to property sales impacting the school district. How are we tackling this one?
I'll start, and CBO will jump in if I forget something. So recently, we were made aware that Golden Gate Fields is being sold to the state for public use, which is very exciting. It means that we'll have more green space and recreation spaces in Albany, and we're very excited about that. And of course, another complex matter has come to us, which is that because it is being sold to the state, that means that the money that we have been receiving for that parcel is actually going to go away, and it approximates about $700,000 annually. And so what we would like support from the board to do is to approve for us to start to move forward to think about how we might be able to work with the state or come up with some creative solutions to mitigate the impact of the loss of the $700,000 a year. Do you want to add anything, CBO? Did I miss anything?
We may also embark on an agreement with an agency, an advisor that will help support that effort, of which case, of course, if we do end up entering into an agreement or want to propose an agreement, we'll bring that back to the board for final approval.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? Any public comment? Okay, so I guess I feel like we should talk a little bit about this before we kind of like go into motion. Obviously, I think, or I should say obviously, Definitely think like making that area a green area is fantastic. Like I think it'll be great for the community, but this is real dollars. When we're talking about $700,000 on an annual basis, I think about what that would mean in terms of how we support our people, our teachers, and what have you, our educators, and what have you. That would be incredibly. It's critical for us to have that money, support our students. So I'd love for us to figure this out with the state. Whether that's going directly with the state or talking to some of our representatives on a more formal basis to lobby them accordingly. So I just think it's like critically important that we actually do this, even though I suspect everyone will move ahead, but like this actually has material impact on what we might be able to do going forward. All right, that's my point of view.
And also just out of interest, are we sure that is the sum? I know you were saying estimated 700,000, but my understanding was it was actually quite a bit more than that, closer to 800. Do we have a kind of actual amount from those bonds that are currently the parcel taxes?
It's really, that's more of a, of sort of the mid-road. So it'll be less, then it'll be more, then, so, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I hope that people in the community and district just really understand the impact of this.
Question about what we're actually approving. So if you're going to come back to us with a potential contract,
Yes.
this is just approving you to go look for somebody to help us? Is that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
What would be an example of like an agreement that we'd have with the state to get the money that we are like going to lose?
I'll make up one.
You can make up one.
The state holds us whole. In other words, the state would give us the money that we would have otherwise gotten from a parcel tax perspective, not as a tax. I'm making this up, but not as a tax base, but some sort of agreement that we would make with them. I mean, I think the intent here is to be made whole from a district perspective. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so do I have a motion to move this forward?
Yeah, I move to authorize staff to develop and negotiate an agreement with an advisory firm and return to the board for final approval.
I second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Student trustee Chodak?
Yes.
Student trustee Shepherd?
Yes.
Trustee Boyd?
Yes.
Trustee Hopwood?
Yes.
Vice President Inglis?
Yes.
President Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And good luck. We need to figure this out. Okay. Moving on to approval of the consent calendar. Any comments on the consent calendar?
I noticed a couple of typos which I brought to the attention of the relevant staff member, and those are going to be amended in minutes.
Thank you. Comments from the public? Seeing none, I have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Student trustee Chodak?
Yes.
Student trustee Shepherd?
Yes.
Trustee Boyd?
Yes.
Trustee Hopwood?
Yes.
Vice President Inglis?
Yes.
President Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you.
The consent calendar passes. Now we'll move on to future board meetings. Any topics that people would like to see at a future board meeting? Hearing none. We do not need to reconvene or recess to a closed session, so we'll move to adjourn the meeting.
I move to adjourn.
Yeah.
Second?
Now, do we have to roll call the adjournment? I don't think so. So I'm just going to call it adjourned. Thank you so much.